This episode is presented by Smirnoff. We do game days. Please drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York.
If you want some concentrated, 100% pure basketball good stuff, Amin and Izzy and Oddball will be here at the end of the hour to cover things better than we did around here today, as Greg Cody just fell in love with the mid-range game of Shea. What did you call him? Gilgis? Did you call him? How did you pronounce his
Alexander.
name? Okay, Alexander works.
Yeah.
Yes, that works correctly.
Right.
The better analysis from experts better than us, Amin and Izzy, will be here shortly. Dominique had an observation during the break that I would imagine, Chris, can you reach out to your mother and ask her how she feels about this? He was asking, how do you imagine Greg's wife feels about
Erlene, wonderful.
Erlene,
Thank you.
Wonderful woman. Everyone agrees. How does she feel about the fact that Greg doesn't wear a wedding ring but does wear 2 pinky rings?
Okay.
How old are the pinky rings? They older than
Did
your
you mean
marriage?
to slur that like that, or did you?
I mean, in the meantime,
I'm wearing clear aligners, you know.
Okay, it's not the big league chew from the other day?
No,
Okay, that's
it's
an
still stuck in my
unpleasant
teeth, though.
sound. That's not
Let's
good.
go ahead and clip that one for the club, though.
couple blocks down.
Little marble mouth.
I don't know how old these rings are. I'm not sure.
But you've been wearing pinky rings
Yeah.
for roughly how long?
10 years maybe?
And how long haven't you worn a wedding ring?
10 years maybe? Something like that.
So you took it off and said, you know where I'm going to put the ring? Instead of my ring finger, on my pinky
Instead of
finger.
one symbol for my love, I'm going to put 2
I'm a
symbols for
player.
my narcissism. That's
Well-
right. That's right, because I'm a playa. That's right. Spelled like we spell beach.
As playa.
I've texted her. I'll let you know when she responds.
We can also get her on. It's a good question. How do you imagine she feels, Greg, about this? That you do not wear a wedding ring, you have not worn one for 10 years, but you wear 2 pinky rings because that you want to give off as style. And that is the only jewelry you wear, right? You do
Yes.
not wear a necklace or a
No.
watch of any kind.
Nope.
It's just 2 pinky rings.
Yes. Panky rings. That's right. She knows we're married. I know we're married. I don't need a ring. You know.
She knows we're married is a great line.
It's what a player
knows
would
we're
say.
married.
It's what.
I want you to be honest with me. How long did you say you have not been wearing the wedding ring?
I don't know, 10 years?
During
I'm
that
guessing.
time, have you ever had to say, like somebody, or no, sorry, I'm married. Like where somebody gets the wrong idea and you have to be like, I'm married.
I know I have only 2 pinky rings here, and that says
And I'm a
suggests-
player.
It suggests I'm open for business. That I don't have.
Does it?
Yes. Yes. What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Greg, did you
never
not know the
heard that.
connotation of pinky rings?
No.
Oh,
Greg,
What is it? Tell me.
Greg,
Enlighten me.
Greg,
I have no idea.
your jewelry absolutely says you're open for business. Your lack of a wedding ring
so
isn't
ridiculous.
the only thing on your hand that says you're open for business.
Well, where is that written?
It's
I'm
never
being-
written.
I'm being
On your
honest.
face.
Unwritten rule.
Of course it's not. You don't write it down, but like
Never write it down.
people, it's like the first time I became aware of like pinky rings was like through the HBO documentary Pimps Up, Hoes Down.
Okay.
The pimps,
You familiar, Dad?
they wear pinky rings.
Sure.
Just
Nothing
said,
wrong with that.
Okay.
And it was like, nothing's wrong with anyone wearing a pinky ring. Like, I think when I was young, one earring meant a certain thing. And then it became a time where 2 earrings was cool and you weren't suggesting you weren't suggesting anything by wearing 2 earrings. So things changed. But from when I was a kid until now, it may have changed, but it was understood that if you had on a pinky ring, playa.
And if you got 2 of them,
Panky.
Open for business 2 times. I'm open for business. You think I'm closed? I'm still open.
I particularly found it interesting though, because we were talking about wedding rings, and so I looked around to see everyone did have a wedding ring, and you were obviously very offended by the idea that anyone would expect you to wear a wedding ring. And then I looked a half inch away from your ring finger and was like, so you decided that whatever these pinky rings represent to you, because it's not even, I would get if you were like, rings make me uncomfortable, I don't wear rings. Then you have naked hands like my man Roy, naked hands. But you were like, no, I just don't want to wear it. For what reason?
Why don't I want to wear a wedding ring?
but also making the stylistic choice of, I do want to give this off.
Right.
I don't want anyone to know what this one gives off, but 2 times over here, I want everyone to know what this is. I want to know also the backstory of how you purchased these. Were any of them a gift? Did you do it at the same time? Did you do it when your hand was naked? Did you say, I want to be open for business? Like, what's the backstory?
I've got him just stumbling into, like, in his junk drawer, a bolt and being like, oh, this will look cool.
Yeah, that's not entirely untrue. I don't remember the reasonology behind it. I have several of these. I picked 2 that I think go together, although one is silver and one is
But you like the way they look?
tarnished
Yes?
gold.
Like what are you really doing
Style.
putting those on all the
Yeah, a
time?
little bit. I think part of it is that you're entirely right. I've never worn jewelry. I've never worn a wristwatch. I'm not a chain guy. I just don't. I don't have tattoos. This distinguishes me in a very tiny, small way. I didn't know it symbolized anything. I thought it was just me wearing jewelry on a different finger.
So before we get contact from Erlene, I think we as a team, we're going to have to come up with some good explanation for Greg Cody, because I feel like I've backed him into a tough corner right now, because it's like what you are suggesting is whatever the feeling that these pinky rings give me is so strong that I will put it on my ring finger, which would suggest that there's another feeling somewhere else that is so strong that you might want to wear a piece of jewelry. If you were naked-handed, I'd be like, all right, Greg, it's uncomfortable. It's like an OCD thing. I feel you, dog. You don't have to wear it. But the fact that you were like, hey, let me put on one of these. You know what? You know what this left hand needs?
Throw another one at it.
2 pinkies.
The way that Greg is doing it.
You go one more.
Take that, Erlene.
It's so aggressive.
What?
Yes. Greg.
You guys are insane.
Greg.
We're
Greg.
Yes.
Greg,
2.
Greg,
Dose.
you wearing 2 pinky rings makes it so that he has no discomfort whatsoever saying to you and being accurate that they're both panky rings. That he's saying it's PANKY
Yeah.
because you have 2 of them.
Okay.
It ceases to be merely a pinky ring, that you're being so aggressively, I'm open for business, that they're panky rings.
Okay. All right. Hanky panky. Is that what that means?
Getting closer.
Okay.
It's in the realm.
You go upside down pineapple on a cruise ship? Like what else are we doing
I
here?
don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either. You
I don't
back
either.
off with that.
Dano, if you
Upside
see an
down
upside down
pineapple.
pineapple, don't go in.
I didn't think that you thought that I would on this Monday ignore the number 11 Toyota Camry of Joe Gibbs Racing. You didn't think I was going to do that, did you? You didn't think I was going to do that. Not today.
What a race!
I was not going to do that today. Oh. Talking about this foolishness with his panky ring.
Might be my favorite Firekeepers Casino 400 ever.
Wow.
It
That's
really
saying
might
something.
be. Great racing on Amazon Prime. Denny Hamlin, he had just had his 700th start, and he wins his first race post 700 start, 44 years old. And something interesting that he said after he won the race to the Amazon crew. Well, he said plenty interesting after the race. In fact, let's cue that video up first.
All right, hold on. Heel turn. We're going full heel turn.
I mean, he's been NASCAR's heel, and he relishes the role.
Daddy, I'm sorry, but I beat your favorite driver, folks.
I gotta ask, like Marty did, who's that?
All of them.
Hocevar was the hometown guy. Hocevar has been racing really well, had a flat tire, gets him out of the race. But that is a cliched line that he occasionally tosses out there. He also, keep in mind, this was Michigan Motor Speedway. After that, recent Buckeye fan, Denny Hamlin, at least publicly, gave him the OH on his way out. But one thing that he said that was interesting is all he wants to do is get in the top 10 in NASCAR wins all time, which is a curious thing for Denny Hamlin to say, because the thing about Denny Hamlin is he's never won a Cup Series championship. He's always up there.
Yeah.
It would shock people that have casually followed NASCAR that he hasn't won a championship yet. He's still looking for that, but he says top 10 in wins all time means more to me than being a Cup Series champion, which I found odd and awfully convenient for a dude that hasn't won it.
It's true that he's the Conor McDavid of NASCAR. There's no question about that.
Only he's 20 years older. The window's closing for him.
Yeah, but NASCAR drivers age a little bit slower than hockey players and some other athletes.
Leave McDavid alone. Just
What do you mean?
stop.
I'm just noting that he hasn't won a Stanley Cup yet.
So what happened 10 years
Matter
ago?
of fact, right?
So
What?
10 years ago, what happened? I think you've been married for like 40 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you had that thing on for 30 years.
Yeah.
And one morning you woke up, let me move this over to my left finger.
Okay, I can tell you very easily why I don't wear a wedding ring. It's more difficult to tell you why I wear a pinky ring. Okay, the wedding ring, probably because my fingers got fat, the wedding ring split on the back and began really pinching me, almost to the point of drawing blood. And so I separated it, and rather than have it repaired, I'm like, you know what, feels good without that ring. You know, I'm
So
just
fat
going
fingers. Your fingers had gotten too fat.
Yeah, I'd probably gained 10 pounds over the years, you know. I'm not the kind of guy who really balloons like you tend to. But, you know, I will gain, 10, 15 pounds, then I'll lose, you know. I just mean, I don't mean now. You look pretty, well, I was going to say svelte. Let's not get carried away. But,
He's lashing out there.
what is that? I'm a pimp all of a sudden?
It's in the preview. It's not on the screen.
Oh.
You're looking at something
some good
that only
Photoshop
you
work right
see.
there.
Yeah, we're terrible Photoshop. Where'd the right side of my face go? Oh, gosh. Okay.
Bit of a difference in skin color there.
All right, look.
That's a good looking
Somebody
cigar,
get
though.
a hold of whoever's in video with the Photoshop
Looking cigar.
and arrest that person. Take them outside and take away their freedom.
Danny, get out of here.
The other thing that I just want to address here, the verb balloon.
Oh.
Hurts my heart, man.
Balloon.
What about it?
I mean, there's a cruelty in it.
Gratuitous.
It's a fun word. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
it's
Parties.
fun.
Festive.
Yes,
I think
party,
you've deflated
yes.
in recent years.
Yeah. He just meant you're a good time. I don't want to look at you. I can't look at you.
Balloon as a verb, like to look me in the face when.
No one wants to do that.
It's a party balloon. Helium.
Have
It'd
you
make
ever
a funny
been
sound.
somewhere where there are balloons and it wasn't fun?
Good question.
Not a lot of balloons at funerals and
There you
sad
go.
places.
He got you
Balloons
on
are
that.
happy things. He
Yes.
did get me on that. But
go.
balloon
The
is a
Hindenburg.
verb to talk about. No, there's that. Yeah, that's a different kind of balloon.
Roy reporting live.
Can we watch Roy
Actually,
again?
you guys want to
reporting?
watch Roy again? Which one do you want to watch?
him
all right.
I like the sad one.
Yeah,
To
you-
clarify,
yes.
there ceased being a balloon when the good times stopped.
That's true.
There wasn't like, hey, Hindenburg crashed, let me bring in some balloons.
I like the sad
Balloons
one
pop.
where it's like, they've scored. They've got a
All
goal.
right, okay, let's do the sad one where Roy grabs his. Look, this is what's happened, okay? A man who's had many years in the field of military training, of knowing how to report in times of crisis. As others scurry for the exits, as others who like microphones but don't know the responsibility of microphones yell, "Suck it, Mike Ryan," and then run into the distance, Roy Bellamy is in the middle of the chaos
Meets the moment.
and grabs his headset and runs into the fray. He is Tom Hanks, Forrest Gump, going into the fray again and again to go and retrieve people and bring them to safety.
Heroic.
Yes, it genuinely harkens back to a time where you look to a news person to lead you when you're scared.
In times of fear and crisis, when you need a reasonable, objective voice to just deliver the news, Roy's there to give you the score.
Going back to the point. You know that.
Oh my God, get it out. Oh my God. The Edmonton Oilers have tied this game at 4.
Wow. Edward R. Bellamy.
We are going to go into overtime.
Oh my God, dude. This is like a team of destiny. Holy.
Corey Perry has tied this game at 4 with 17 seconds left in regulation.
I have fixated, it took several times playing this clip. Check out the terror on Rose's face.
Oh my God, it's great.
It's
Just
great.
pure terror.
Well, it's not
it looks
only
like she
that.
saw a ghoul.
It's wonderful for a number of reasons. First of all, inexplicably, Rose is doing the game in another language.
like a broadcast in
she's-
Spanish, like simulcasting it.
She's broadcasting in
What
Spanish.
is she saying?
Well, she's giving more colorful play-by-play because Spanish is a better language. But the thing about Roy that makes this so wonderful is that he is giving the most basic of information to emergency survivors.
Radio listeners.
It's just, but it's just, everyone knows what's just happened. Look at how everyone fled the video. But Roy is there to explain. It's a bit of the slow report, but also factually correct. Right in the middle of it, everyone settle down. Here's what the score is. Radio, time and place.
You know that.
Oh my God, hit it out. Oh my God. The Edmonton Oilers have tied this game at 4.
Wow.
And we are going to go into overtime.
This is like a team of destiny. Holy.
Rose looks terrified.
Corey Perry has tied this game at 4 with 17 seconds left.
I want to ask you guys, if you know those dry cleaning racks, you know the dry cleaning that brings the suit back from, if behind Roy, as people scattered, a rack had come and just wrapped him in news suit garb, and he had just leaned right in and gone from wearing a baseball cap and the shirt that he's wearing to all of a sudden having a sports coat, a tie, and reporting the news as a horrified Rose nearby, filled with panic.
It looks like she saw the mushroom cloud of the nuclear blast.
Look, what she's
not worried about Iraq. She's worried about Iraq.
What she's seen is far worse than what broadcaster Roy is describing. And you know what she sees? What cometh this way? You tell me that that's not what she sees.
Oh, God. So good.
The little moment, like there was like a little hesitation fear, and I'm trying to figure out if that's when the puck first found Corey Perry. She's like, oh no, they're going to get a good look here. Yeah. And then, like, because she kind of screams a little bit beforehand, and then it settles in on her face.
Horrifying.
It does look like that door in Greg Cody's garage just closed in her face.
She looks haunted. It is the same silence, the tomb-like silence that was everywhere is on Rose's face. That you do understand that right there is the whole reason to do the broadcast, correct? Like it can have all sorts of other accents, noises, talking, voices. It's just what does that better than sports? And the answer is the voice of a baby crying at midnight in a cornfield. That's horror right there. That's it. She was loving her life. 17 seconds to go. I'm speaking Spanish. I'm delighted. Oh my God. What cometh this way?
The game is tied. 17 seconds left. I love Roy. Just meets the moment.
But you heard the tremble in his voice, though. It was shaky. The foundation. That house was on stilts, my friend. That house was not. That was shaking. He did get in there and give the facts, but it's because it's all he was holding on to in the storm.
Wasn't scary.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Hey,
A
little forward.
One click.
Go
forward.
back.
There, yeah.
Yes, right there. Yes.
Dwork's giving it too. Dwork's giving you a little something there too.
Yeah, zoom out there.
And then go to Roy. What's Roy doing right now? Oh!
That was me saying they scored. Score.
No, I think this was just before the score.
No, that's score. That's the O in score right there.
Let's play the sound.
I don't think that is. I don't think that is the score. Is that the score, or is that something being inserted
Hit it, guys.
at a time we weren't expecting?
Hello.
The Edmonton Oilers have tied this game at 4.
Wow.
Smile.
And we are going
Yeah,
to
that
go
smile.
into overtime.
What's with that smile, Roy?
Yeah, Roy.
Dominique was saying that you might have a little bit of sadist in you. What's with that smile?
You like the pain.
No,
Makes you happy.
I was actually literally in pain because my shoulder was hurting. That's
So you
probably-
smiled.
That's what pain looks like.
Randomly
Like,
shoulder pain.
Maybe he was
There's
smiling
pain.
because he knew he delivered the news.
You did just hold on
Look
to
at that face. Roy.
Newsroom.
That's a smile, Roy. That's not. How is that shoulder pain, Roy?
It was out. My shoulder was killing me. The
But
entire
Roy,
night.
that's not shoulder.
He likes pain. He likes it.
It's a grimace. I don't know.
Yeah, the smile is a grimace. That's a good point by Roy.
I just hurt myself again.
That is not shoulder pain, Roy. That was you.
You see the face you just made when you just hurt yourself? That's a face
Yes,
that people make
that's
when
the
they're in
face
pain.
of pain. Correct. Pain looks like pain. It doesn't look like joy.
It's a sharp pain. That's why the teeth was showing.
Look at Rose there. Rose, that is a catastrophe.
Yeah.
And Dwork, by the way, I don't know how Dwork, haunted and talking about, oh no, it's a team of destiny, how he finishes 4th place here on emotional reactions because everyone fell apart. And again, I will explain, Rose and Ethan fell out of your screen. That to recover from that in Edmonton to give us a series. I know people are tired of how much we're talking about hockey, but
not too bad.
I mean, how much better do you want the games to be? How much better would you like this to be that all of hockey is fawning at how wonderful the games are and how excellent the teams are? And we're 2 in.
Dan, when they equalize, were you like, oh, this is the good stuff?
Oh, my
Hell
God.
yeah.
Give me that
this
in
is
Game
great. I am
7.
psyched about
Game
this.
7, give it to me.
Amin's coming to us from Oklahoma City, where the Thunder have evened up the series 123-107. I like the live action feel of this. There's like people around in the background. Amin, right from the top, main story about this game too.
All right, so first of all, like my location is right by where the Thunder locker room tunnel is. So
okay,
you're going to see a lot of activity in the background.
Great.
No,
I'll describe it if necessary.
Yes, there you go. Aaron Wiggins just walked by the way. Big hero.
Wasn't necessary. Thank you, though. Not
necessary. Okay. No, but the history of this team all season long has been after a loss, it's a resounding answer, right? It's not just they don't lose back-to-backs or 2 games in a row. It's they beat your ass, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what happened tonight. First of all, they did a much better job on the glass. The offensive rebounding opportunities that the Pacers were feasting on in game 1 were not present. They still, even though the turnover count was a lot lower, they definitely got their way in terms of creating offense off of those turnovers. Mm-hmm. And the third part, I think this is the most important part. SGA got help, and the help came from some unexpected sources like an Aaron Wiggins, but also from the people that you kind of rely on. Jalen Williams had a great game, and Chet Holmgren had a great game. What I really liked about it was the aggression. He went out there, and he, from the opening tap, was intent on making an impact, and he did.
I'll give you that. I'll give you Chet. Chet was, a lot more impactful, especially early on, really sort of set the tone. Jalen Williams, when things were close, was not good. Anything, he finished with 5 of 14 for 19 points. But it was exactly like it's everything that you wanted from a response game. And you just so happened to get the 18 points from Andrew Wiggins and the 12 from Alex Caruso. There was some conversation, you didn't hear this during the broadcast, about why Tyrese Halliburton wasn't more aggressive. Like that, it's a little bit of a head scratcher for me that people say that is because he is, like we said, he's the point guard, right? He really gets going if somebody else gets going with him, but it's never really been Tyrese, just go get yours. And so this idea that he needs to be the tone setter in terms of scoring, do you think that there's more there from him, or do you think this is pretty much his role the entire time?
Well, I mean, I think it's fair to expect him to be aggressive when the offense isn't operating, right? Like, I think that's the big thing is that I get it. And we went through this when I was in Phoenix with Steve Nash, where Steve wanted to set people up. Steve didn't want to be aggressive offensively, but like, I can't remember how many times used to say this on the broadcast. Steve Nash senses the moment, and he senses like, it's not working. So now I have to unveil like what probably could have been a 25 point per game scorer his entire career if that were his everyday mentality. Tyrese has a lot of things that reminds me of Steve Nash in that way, and that he wants to impact the game as a facilitator and as someone who's kind of touching different parts of that aren't necessarily captured in a box score.
Right.
But there has to be that recognition of we don't have it going. I need to do something. Now, some people might say he trusts his teammates. He trusts them to, if he keeps facilitating them, they're going to get it going. And like the crazy thing is the building was nervous the whole time. Like, yeah, they were up 20, but like every time they would hit like a Neesmith 3 here or an and 1 there from Siakam, and it's like everyone just started getting.
So it's like they learned their lesson from not being as alert from game 1. But the part about Tyrese, though, it's almost like because he knew his team could make a huge comeback at any time that he didn't really have to push the panic button. It's like when he finally did push the panic button, might have been a little bit too late.
A little too late. But also, let's be honest. They got what they came for in terms of the split. So right now they are, even as after a pretty tough loss tonight, they're still kind of feeling about like, yeah, we achieved the mission, so to speak. And you go back to Indiana for 2, and we'll see how it goes there. Again, Izzy, I got to go back to, would love to have seen what this series would look like if we were still doing the 2-3-2.
Yeah, that
Right?
added
Like
a
in
whole
this
lot
scenario?
of elements to break down a series back when it was 2-3-2. Like now when it's 2-2, 1-1-1, it's like it seems more fair. So there's not a whole lot of roller coastery to go around. It's a little bit more drama back then. But in terms of Indy, like what sort of strategic game plan has to change for them to keep Alex Caruso and Andrew Wiggins from going off? Because obviously they're not going to stop Shea. Like Shea's going to get somewhere between 30 and 40. And if, 40 plus if he's having a great night. But it feels like they can control Jalen Williams. It feels like Chet Holmgren's not really going to explode for you. So if you can keep those guys off the board, like how do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, the simple answer is I don't think you can. I think that's what you live with. If you're Indiana, you say, I live with that. Alex Caruso going to have to, I'll live with that, right? Aaron Wiggins going to come in and hit a bunch of threes. I'll live with that. You got to live with it. I think the part that's a little bit more difficult is, first of all, it's not like you helped out on Shea much. And I got to shout out Eddie Johnson on this one. He said, I get that the strategy is we're going to guard Shea one-on-one, but maybe every once in a while just to mix it up, just to surprise him. Like we're just gonna watch this slow march down the drain. And then the other part of it is, again, like Chet Holmgren really put his imprint on the game. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention this. The two big lineup, right? What they ended up doing is that they basically ran it a bunch when Siakam wasn't on the floor. And so that kind of alleviates some of the issues as far as, hey, if we're going too big, does that mean we've got Chet on Siakam and Siakam being a lot more kind of laterally mobile,
right,
might present problems. But in those minutes where those guys ran together, I'm trying to find the details. From my kind of like my naked eye, the two big lineup was tremendous for them tonight.
Can you help me out with something? I know I was watching on TV. You were watching it there. What I saw, because we talked about the NBA Finals trophy being on the floor, or at least the Finals logo, some sort of like a fancy graphic. Today, turned on the game, and there were two kind of tiny logos on the floor. It seemed like, and it clearly wasn't real. It clearly wasn't put on the floor, right? You didn't see logos on the floor, right? Okay.
I'm looking at the floor right now. There are no logos on it.
It seemed like they didn't want to make them any bigger than the advertisements that were on the floor, that were showing on the floor, because they weren't bigger than any of those. And then, oddly, and they're also both facing the same direction, which people, when you're watching on TV, you're just like, well, obviously you should have one, the crowd should be facing the crowd on each side, so it should be the opposite way.
If you look at like, so right now I'm looking at their floor. I believe this is true of every NBA floor. Hey, how's it going? They're good. So
say hello
every NBA floor has all the signage, all the logos, everything, all face the cameras.
Okay.
So if you're sitting on the bench, I'm sitting pretty much behind where the Thunder bench was. And so the TV cameras are there because the TV cameras are always facing the benches. All the things on the floor are going to be facing the cameras. So that was accurate for them to put them both facing that way.
Okay.
The part that's crazy is I did see like a little video. I think Arash Markazi posted it. And he said, how can you tell? It was like his caption was, how can you tell it's digitally imposed? And, they're waving like the OKC flag. And then you see it kind of just pop up, superimposed on the flag and superimposed on other things. Yeah. And that's the problem with that kind of makeshift style kind of solution is you're bound to run into those.
You made it worse,
and
oddly, late in the game when it was pretty much out of hand. I know this because I switched the game from the big TV to the little TV. Then they went with the logo.
On the big TV?
Yeah, no, the big TV was it was the Last of Us. I'm trying to catch up on that. And so, yeah, the little TV, and I saw the logo on there, the Finals in script, and I was like, well, that's weird, because if people were wondering if it was real and maybe had a question mark in their head, now they know for sure. During that timeout, they didn't just switch it to the Finals logo. I don't really know what they were doing there. It's probably the biggest mistake Adam Silver's ever made.
So you switched to The Last of Us. You missed the Johnny Furphy minutes.
No, oddly enough, I saw it. He fouled Shea, which is amazing. Like first seconds on the floor. And Furphy. Are we sure that's a real name?
Dude, it's like fake Murphy, right? Isn't that what that is?
Yes, it's exactly that. Back to the basketball. I mean, what do we think of the series now? Because like we've gotten shaken off the rust. We've gotten the first 2 games out of the way. Indiana, the first game, the crazy comeback sort of masked the idea that they don't really seem to have a consistent offensive flow.
Right.
So do you see that changing in any way when they get to Indiana?
No, this is how they've been all year long. So I don't see anything changing. And again, like this is the part where, everyone loves to overreact to a game 1 loss, but yeah, man, OKC over time is going to prove itself to be the better team because that's how this thing works. That's why we don't play single elimination in the playoffs. While we have a little bit of time, I did want to shout out Don Nelson won the Chuck Daly Lifetime Achievement Award. It's the award that the NBA Coaches Association gives out. There was 2 really important things that came out of this press conference. Number 1, this is the first time for him on the mainland in 7 years.
Wow.
And the first time he's wearing shoes in 6 years.
Wow.
The shoes he wore are Luka Doncic Jordans. And he said, I'm wearing them in protest of the trade.
Yes.
So that's one. The other thing, and this is huge, he told a story about how they drafted Dirk and how they flew him into a secret workout. Nobody knew, and they tried to hide him, and they were worried. And on draft day, like, they made the trade, obviously, to trade it down from 6 to 9 with Milwaukee. Now, here's the part I didn't know. He said, my favorite player in the draft was Paul Pierce. We all thought Paul Pierce would be a top 3 pick and wouldn't even be like an option. So imagine their surprise when at 9, Dirk's on the board, which is their guy, the guy that they went through all these pains to kind of hide and stash, basically. But also, Paul Pierce is on the board.
Wow.
And so Don Nelson's like, him and Donnie, he told Donnie, like, oh, what do we do? And Donnie was like, look, man, we kind of did all this to get this German kid. Like, we can't back out now. And that's how Dirk Nowitzki ended up to be a Maverick, and Paul Pierce ended up being a Celtic.
Wow,
So I thought that
made
was a
the
real
right
cool story.
choice. Let's be honest. Made the right choice. Can I tell you my experience from watching Don Nelson get the award? Man, they played this still shot, or it wasn't a still shot. It was a video of him and Rick Carlisle accepting the award, and they were sitting there, and they kept the camera on him for about 30 seconds too long. I mean, it was just, I was like, all right, let's get the camera off of Mr. Don Nelson here. And then making matters worse, because, I mean, I don't know what the hell Don was wearing. Making matters worse, they cut to him in the crowd. He had some popcorn, food all in the corner of his mouth. And then they kept on that one for longer than they should have, too. Nah, I wouldn't be too happy with these producers and directors if I was Don Nelson today.
Folks out there in the audience, temperature's starting to turn up a little bit. That means a lot of you and your families and your friends are going outside, having a perfect grill day, maybe out by the pool. Now, imagine yourself, grill side. Your veggies, your meats, they're all prepped, ready to go. Kids running around in the background. Lawn, perfectly manicured to perfection. It all sounds pretty great. This sounds like a good time. Now you make that good time a Miller time because it is all made better with a white can in your hand of that beautiful Miller Lite. Celebrating its 50th anniversary, Miller Lite. Almost 20 years have they been partnered with our show, making your good times Miller times every time out. There's just something about a perfect grilling day. Sun's out, friends show up, that first sip of Miller Lite, it just hits different. I've been stocking the cooler with Miller Lite for years on these grilling days, and for good reason. It's brewed for taste, and it's only 96 calories and 3.2 grams of carbs. This year, Miller Lite turns 50. That's 5 decades of cookouts, laughs, and ice-cold moments that never miss. It's the original light beer, and it's still my go-to. Great beer, great times. Grill on. Miller Lite. Great taste. 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Cheers to 50 years of Miller Lite. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
All right, it's time for Against the Spread. It's presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Mike, take it away.
Going to the Club World Cup. That opens on Saturday night. I know we have a watch party out at Grails this weekend, Saturday night, for the kickoff of the Club World Cup. It's happening at Hard Rock Stadium. The Club World Cup is. It's Inter Miami versus Al Ahly. I'm going to be taking Al Ahly plus a half goal in this competition. Al Ahly's been in South Florida acclimating for a little bit. Meanwhile, Argentina have a big-time World Cup qualifier against Colombia this week. I think tired legs for Inter Miami. They are in season after all, while Al Ahly has been one of the more decorated clubs on the planet and have performed well in previous incarnations of the Club World Cup when it was a much smaller competition. If you Google it, you might see a return that says, this is the most decorated club in the world in all competitions. They are a dominating force, and they have really good players, including a really good goalkeeper. That's their team captain. I like Al Ahly here to at the very least, tie this game. And if they do, that's an against the spread winner. So I'm taking Al Ahly against the spread.
20.
I'm going to be in the National Hockey League. We got a big game tonight at the Barn up in Sunrise. I'm going to be taking the Edmonton Oilers plus 1.5 on the puck line because Panthers play tight games. Also, whatever team I bet, the other team wins. So we're going Edmonton.
Chris is giving you the side eye on that.
No, he likes it.
At first, I didn't like it, but I see what he's doing there.
He got the reason.
Little gymnastics
for the mental crowd.
Against the spread.
I feel bad for Juju because on Thursday Thunder, which is much different from against the spread, it's nothing like against the spread.
Different.
It's a different thing. He again went 2 for 3, and the third leg, OKC on the money line. Yeah. He keeps going 2 for 3. It's just heartbreaking. Juju, I'm sorry that this keeps happening to you, but welcome to the show. I want to talk about a number of different things with you, including the fights from this weekend. Is the Sean O'Malley thing over now?
It's over. It's over if Merab Dvalishvili is the champion. Yeah, the Sean O'Malley experience is completely over. Merab, we're in the situation, Juju. We're in the time of his career where we have to start having a conversation about Merab as one of the great bantamweight champions on the planet.
O'Malley, though, looked so physically small. Just looked like he did not have the size and strength to do anything.
I think the issue is he was expecting Merab is going to try and take me down 800 times over 5 rounds. Merab came out swinging with some fierce kicks, punches, and I don't think that and Juju, you watched too. What do you think? Sean O'Malley came out and got a couple hits where it was like, oh shit, I did not expect this from Merab whatsoever. They tired him out in that 3rd round, and then all of a sudden it was over.
Right. The dangers of the second match, the rematch, where you go in thinking, all right, I got this guy figured out. And my boy Merab was over there training a whole different game plan because he know you was going to be looking at the hand, and the hand is way quicker than the eye. Salute to Merab. Also salute to Kayla Harrison.
Wow, what a big one.
Getting the belt. All right, big submission over the champ, you feel me? But she also bought Amanda Nunes out of retirement, setting up a blockbuster match down the road. What you think about that, Tom?
I was surprised that it was so quick. It felt like, right? There was a back and forth where Juliana really didn't have any answers for her, and then it was. And what I mean quick is the Kimura that got set up and executed. It was against the cage, so we couldn't really see what the offhand was happening. So we saw Kayla Harrison on top. We saw her trying to move in position, and then all of a sudden you see the tap, and then you see on the other side the Kimura where her arm is basically out of place. Juliana's a great. We love Juliana. Been on the show with them. Hang on me and Juju before. She's just not at the level of what a Kayla Harrison can do at her top, at her peak. And now we're going to see Amanda Nunes out of retirement versus Kayla Harrison. That's going to be an absolute banger, like Juju said. Again, shout out to the Venezuelan Vixen, but she said she calls dibs on who's got next, and I think that's probably fair because there's nobody else in the division.
Right. Also, too, in the WBO this weekend, Keyshawn Davis, man, he had an embarrassing weekend. He missed weight, got stripped of his title, didn't get the fight against the brother. The other brother still got his purse, so salute. But he was on the fight card with his other 2 little brothers. Little brother got beat up. No, big brother got beat up. Little brother won. They got into an altercation backstage. Keyshawn Davis is a bad weekend for Keyshawn Davis and the Keyshawn Davis brand. Hopefully that brother clean it up ASAP.
We got to get Juju's thoughts on Greg Cody's pinky ring. Chris Cody, have you reached out to your mother? Has she answered whether she would come on with us and talk about the wedding ring fiasco?
She is too busy to join today. She did acknowledge that he did It broke 7 to 10 years ago, and I basically followed up with, what are your thoughts on him to this day still not wearing one? I will let you know when she responds.
Okay, hopefully we'll get that for punctuation on the show. She's very busy doing important things when she's not taking care of this toddler, the third of her toddlers. What did you think, Juju, about the whole panky ring discussion?
Bro, I got 2 words for the whole and deep dive into Greg Cody's pinky ring investigation. Player haters. What are we doing to my boy? Like, hey, Greg, so what does your wife think about you wearing pinky rings? Brothers, what are we doing? Now my boy got to go home and answer real life questions behind y'all boys playing. We can't be playing like this with my boy. Come on, bro. I'm on your team, Greg. I mean, whatever you want to wear.
Yes.
Go ahead, bro.
Thank you. Juju, you should be my attorney because you couldn't have said it any better to a jury in my defense. That was excellent.
Open for business.
What's wrong with that?
Well, see, now finally.
I'm kidding.
Now that you
It's
admit
a
it, now we're
joke.
fine. Now
It's
that's
a joke.
Yes.
It's a joke.
Also, happy birthday to our loyal fan, Mike Mayo out there. I see you, brother. Keep doing your thing, man.
And happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
How we feeling about the poll questions today, Juju?
The poll questions, okay? I had some stuff set up.
I just got a response, Juju.
Hold on a second, Juju. The problem is I don't know what you had set up, but I'm guessing Dominique leaving here didn't help whatever it is that you had set up. So he had to tape something real quick. He'll be back in a second.
Juju, while you figure out the polls, I did get a response from my mom. I said, thoughts on him not wearing one still? ? Her response, I don't care.
Damn.
She's been in it too long, man.
Thank you, dear.
Is that a win? Like just indifference?
Why not? Why would she care? If she cared, I'd be wearing a wedding ring. Trust me.
And you know it.
And you do know it. Thank you.
Yeah, I
You
do.
agree with your catchphrase.
Yes.
Just to be clear, you agree with your catchphrase.
Tony was right on the mark.
Okay. So thank you for all of your contributions today.
Thank you.
Dominique is coming back in here now to take whatever questions it is that you had for him that you were disappointed you were not able to ask him because he's very busy doing ESPN things and doing important national and international broadcasts. What did you have for Dominique, Juju?
Yes, I rarely get to ask professionals about some of this professional stuff. So I wanted to get your thoughts on the Packers releasing Jair Alexander.
Yeah, I mean, it
What
was
does that
shocking. Shocking because he's a great player, and I assume that has to do with money, as it normally does with teams like that. But it's incredibly difficult to be a top-tier corner for an extended period of time. I think the Packers are one of the smarter organizations and try to get out from under those before it's too late. So Zaires dealt with a bunch of injuries lately. I think it's probably about finding a way to maintain as much talent as they can without committing too much to a player that they don't see in their long-term.
But he played 7 regular season games the last 2 seasons, and Mark Murphy, their president, is saying that they're used to playing without him.
Yeah.
So it's cold.
Yeah. I mean, it's injuries. It happens to all of them. And you'll see one of the rare things about corners is you see guys who are dominant for like a short stretch, and then all of a sudden they're mediocre. It's a tough position.
This is not good. Dolphins love an injury-prone corner.
I was just going to say, does he have any life left in his career? Because the Dolphins desperately need a cornerback.
I mean, he definitely has life left.
In his career? What are we talking about?
He's injury-prone.
He played 7 games.
7 games in 2 years
He's got a
doesn't.
little mileage on him. I mean,
It's not dead.
That doesn't beg questions about whether he can still do this.
it does to me.
Okay, he just got done saying one of the best corners. It's an elite
healthy.
skill set.
Best ability, Dan?
Can you be one of the best corners if you played 7 games in 2 years?
Well,
okay, he's nodding yes.
Well,
yeah. I mean, I think it's such a difficult position. You notice if you heading up to the draft every year, you look at every team's needs. Every team, it feels like every year, needs corners and tackles. It's one of the most difficult things to find. So even if, in the same way with quarterbacks, like we just had this conversation about Aaron Rodgers, where the Steelers fans and the players and the coaches are willing to take the risk on a player that's obviously not in his prime because it's so hard to find someone who can reach that level. I think the same thing is true for cornerback. And a less important position, maybe by a little bit. I get it. But if you show the ability to get to that level, what it does for your defense, so much of this game is focused around passing. If you have a corner that you can put over there on the number one and say, all right, we're good. He's going to win some, he's going to lose some, but it's not going to debilitate our defense. It allows you to use resources so many other places. That flexibility for just 7 games, 10 games, how many games you can get it for is incredibly valuable.
You have to use more resources on more corners because he's playing 3 games this season.
Also, Nick Chubb to the Texans. Does that mean anything big, or is this the twilight of his career?
Yeah, he's dealt with a lot of injuries in a different position. That feels like a little twilight situation. That's where, Greg, you could ask about life left in a career. Like he had a serious injury at a position that is much easier to find replacements for. So I think
he's young though, isn't he? Like that's not. I don't think of him as old. That's not.
His knee went the wrong way, Dan.
Twice, I think.
Sony Michel's been out of the league. Like he's been in the league for a long time, and he's had a lot of bad injuries dating back to his college days. Pulling for him though. If anybody can pull it off and have their body bounce back from all the knee injuries, not enough was made by what a dirty hit that was that really sidetracked his career and might end up ending it if he doesn't ever turn into old form. But he's one of the easiest guys to root for.
Before we get to the poll updates, one of the frustrations that Greg Cody has around here is that on Tony Kornheiser's show, he's allowed more space to be the smarter him that he obviously and often is in print. So, Greg, do you have any thoughts today on the death of amateurism being official? Because you have declared it so, that we have finally reached the official end of amateurism in sports.
Right. I mean, the federal judge basically authenticated the truce that had come between the NCAA and the colleges, and right now they're going to move forward paying players. And now, and that's all sports, okay? Obviously, football and basketball is going to get the bare share of that, but even if you're a softball player now or a college golfer, you're entitled to get money. You're entitled to negotiate for money. And it's we always used to think of college as the professional league in waiting, the pipeline to the pros. Now, in effect, college is the pros because a lot of these college players, and we saw it with NIL beginning a few years ago, the college quarterback now, who's a superstar, can make as much money or more than some of the backup.
You don't like it? Softball television is giant, and now NIL for a softball player at Texas Tech will go for $1 million.
Right.
Like that's it's the going rate for television streaming.
I mean, to Greg's point, I think that a lot of us who have been advocating for athletes getting paid are happy that it's happening. But I think you also have to appreciate that nothing in life is free. And there are some costs to making that advancement. And we have to appreciate that some of the things that we've grown accustomed to, some of the things that we like about it, and I'm starting to come to terms with it myself, is like, yes, I want more justice, but I know that some things about this will be different. The idea of guys transferring to where they can get more money, I wouldn't rarely say in public, but I don't like it. It kind of rubs me the wrong way. I want them to be free, but I also want my shit to be fun and good.
Let's free. He's advocating here for less freedom on labor.
Keep them free.
You heard him.
Keep them free.
Less free.
Keep them free.
Percentage
also,
of less free.
I'll say one of the topics that I end up on my show a lot is like the professionalization of youth sports. And as the college ranks gets more professional, the younger ranks get more professional, and I think we always assume that that's going to be better. It's not. It's worse. Like, it makes for robots as athletes. It makes for less personality, and I think it also limits the. Like, you see Yannick Sinner. One of the reasons why Yannick Sinner is as incredible as he is because he was a world-class skier also. There are different skills. Like, if you look at the best players in all these different sports, so many of them have taken unique paths. And when we make professional sports, or we make youth sports professional sports where you're playing year-round, you got to get extra coaching. They're telling you the exact right way to play. It sucks all the creativity out of the game, which is why, like, I know those who like football or soccer will recognize that Brazilian players come from a different style of play, which is why they're so damn fun to watch. And then we see these other robots. So all this stuff, I think we often think of everything in life as zero-sum, win or lose. Like, we get it or we don't get it. I think it's important to understand that there are always trade-offs. Even the things that you want, with it is going to come some drawbacks and some side effects that you don't love.
And another trade-off, which isn't spoken about much, is that this is going to cause a reduction in scholarships and roster size.
Let's get to those poll questions here because I do find it funny that you guys are talking like now. I don't know where the line is. I really don't on where it becomes objectionable. But I'm going to say the line is whenever it is that Dominique sounds like my grandfather complaining on behalf.
I'm not complaining
on behalf of youth sports. We got to get a little less freedom for the labor so that someone else can raise my kid correctly. What do you have for us on poll questions, Juju?
Also, welcome back, R-Truth. Heroic return, Money in the Bank. We didn't mention that at all.
We didn't.
Wow. Better language, Spanish or French? 75% of the audience says Spanish.
Not even close.
And last poll, we only had 2 polls. Are ratings for dorks? 86% of the audience says yes, they are.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Tony. A giant victory for you. Alley-oop, after every basketball game in the playoffs, the rest of the way on our YouTube channel. Juju, good talking to you.
Yes, sir. NBA logo. Keep it on the court. Finals logos.